Fred Marty, Jack Klump, Karen Shepherdson, Rick Hall, Ted Spencer, Julia Marshall, and myself, Mark Colvin. We have a motion to call the meeting to order and open the public meeting.
So moved.
Jack made a motion to open the meeting.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, so our first case this evening is Pat Wilson, 131 Shady Lane, looking for a variance on a fence. So if we can promote him to speaker, which I just did. So Patrick, you're online now, so your microphone, you can speak and tell us a little bit about your application.
I was just looking for a variance to raise the height of my existing fence from 4 feet to 6 feet. I'm right on the corner of Brookside and Shady Lane. And ever since they did the upgrades to the trail at Green Lakes, there's been a considerable amount of traffic. And my existing fence is 4 feet, and I just feel like I just would prefer to have a 6-foot fence to increase the privacy and security around my house.
Okay. Are you gonna replace the fence all the way around, that whole fence all the way around your property, or just the front part?
No, all of it. So it'll all match. I don't know if you could see the graphic below. I can see a graphic of a picture that I sent to Karen.
Yep.
Just shows the dog-eared style, and it's a more closed looking fence. It has alternating pickets on either side. So there's not like a good side or a bad side. They're both the same.
Okay. And anybody, by the way, that's in the audience, if you have any questions, you can hit the button that says raise your hand and we'll open up your mic so you can speak. So if there's anybody that's attending the meeting currently that wants to speak, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll recognize you so you can make public comment if you'd like. Right now we have 3 attendees in the meeting, and we have Tyler Brown who'd like to address us. So Tyler, go ahead, you're live. You just have to unmute your microphone.
Use the other app. Okay.
Unmute. Got it. Figured it out. No,
There you go.
I mean, I use green trails a lot, and I ride them over from Huntley on my bike, so I go right past Shady Lane or on Shady Lane, so I can appreciate where he's coming from. It looks like his fence is, I'm no reason other than the height that it should be an issue. So, I mean, it would have my support as somebody uses the trails and doesn't want to, cause the people that I'd see, some kind of problem. I understand he wants a little bit of privacy in his own yard. It makes sense. So.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, then we're gonna put you back into the audience here. So if you want to talk, just go ahead and raise your hand again.
And Mark, the only other comment, or I should say, is letter. There was a letter received today that I forwarded to the board members in support of the fence variance.
Correct.
Okay, so that's, just to make note of that as part of the comments for the public hearing, that there
All right.
are 4 neighbors.
Yep, I can open that up and put it in if you want. So the letter that Karen's talking about was received, and it says, fence variance to whom it may be concerned. Please be advised that the residents listed below have discussed the proposed fence with Mr. Wilson. It is our understanding the fence will replace the existing fence in the same location and be 6 foot tall. It is also our understanding that the fence will be installed with horizontal rails on the property owner's side of the fence. We are in favor of Mr. Wilson's request and feel that it will be add aesthetic value to our neighborhood and provide Mr. Wilson with some much needed privacy due to the high pedestrian and vehicular traffic accessing the state walking trail. The proposed fence will be like in kind and size of other fences in close proximity, and in no way will create a safety concern. Thank you for considering our comments. Sincerely, Sean Foran from 193 Brookside Lane. Stacy Robson, 195 Brookside Lane, Dave Hart for 129 Shady Lane, and Mary Stewart for 128 Padaya Lane. I think I said that right.
Anita.
Anita,
Benita Lane, yep.
Anita.
we received that today in support of the application. Let's see, I lost my my panelist view here. There we go. My attendee view, got it back. Anybody else have any other public comment?
I have a question.
Sure, who is this? Please identify yourself.
Julia,
Okay,
is the fence going around the entire property or just the 31 feet to Shady Lane and then 70 feet along Shady Lane and then a couple, it doesn't say how many feet on the back. If you look at the plan drawing, there's a dark line, so I'm trying to understand, is it just that portion of fence or is the entire property fence?
It's going to replace the existing fence. I darkened where I thought I needed the variance because everywhere else I think I already could make it 6 feet. So I was just emphasizing the parts that I thought I needed a variance for.
Okay.
any other public comments? I don't see any hands
Just to be
raised.
clear, there's no fence planned for the Brookside Lane side of the property.
Well, there is 31 feet.
Well,
That's-
yeah, except for the part that reaches out to Shady Lane, but you're not extending any fence in the other side of the house towards Brookside Lane.
It's just where the existing fence is right now.
Okay, okay.
Any other comments? Questions? There's no attendees with a hand raised, so a motion to close the public meeting and have discussion.
I move to close the public meeting.
Jack Clump made a motion to close public meeting, seconded by Dan Smolnicki. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The
Discussion?
only thing that I wanted to add was just that the current fence that he has right there right now, the only thing he's doing is just raising the height of it 2 feet. So it's not like he's going any closer to any sidelines or boundaries or anything like that. At least that's my understanding. And with the fence, I know we always say to put the good side out, facing out, while using the style that he presented in his drawings, it shows like that they're both sides are good because you're alternating the slats, and it's also going to be a dog-eared style fence. If
Correct.
I understood what he said.
Yeah, and looking at the rest of the neighborhood, there's lots of fences that height all around there, behind them, around them. So I don't really see the height as being much of an issue. And I think the fence that's there currently is lived a good long life.
Yeah, I agree, Mark. The one thing I would note though is that the reason, well, I think the reason that, well, I would approve of the variance, not because of the privacy issue. That's a benefit, and that's fine. I'm just thinking in terms of a precedent. Somebody comes in and says, well, I want a fence up because I need more privacy. For me, that's not the issue. The issue here is that really it looks like the front of his house is on Brookside. If you look at the house.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, when I drove by and looked at it first, I was like, we don't want to put up a 6-foot fence in the front yard. Then I drove around the corner and went, aha, its front yard's on Brookside,
Right,
even though the address is Shady Lane.
right. So
Well,
it's
being
almost
on the
like,
corner- being on the corner, isn't that considered like having two fronts?
Exactly.
I can't, well, that came through garbled to me. What did
Well,
you say?
Technically, he has 2 front yards because he's at a corner.
Okay,
But the
So
reality
I-
is the front of the house is Brookside, even though the address is Shady Lane, and the front of the house is
Right.
actually Brookside.
Right. And I'm just saying for, for future precedent, somebody comes in and says, well, I want more privacy in my yard. The situation here is just different because it's a corner lot. I just think we should note that because it's a corner lot.
Absolutely.
That should be noted in our resolution.
I think it's also because of the proximity to the trail and how much more use the trail has gotten in the past few years.
Yeah, I mean, you always have cars parked on the street there, so just not having to look out from your porch and see cars sitting there is a nice benefit also.
Right. Again, it's
I-
a benefit.
Yeah, I
It's not-
think Jack's point's well taken. I don't think we need to grant the variance. I don't think we have to worry about the privacy issue. I think we can grant it just on the merits of the whole neighborhood has 6 foot. I think I even saw one 8-foot fence, and from the road, at least it looked like 8 foot. So I think just from the rest of the neighborhood, there's a lot of 6-foot fences. And I don't really see the issue of the 2 technically front lawns being a problem because there's an existing fence there that you're replacing and improving the looks of it. So I don't think the privacy issue is really the merit for the case. I think the merit for the
Right.
case is it's replacing an existing fence that's exceeded its lifetime and it's improving the character of the neighborhood with the looks. And the privacy issue is secondary, but not primary. It's a benefit to the new fence, but it's not the primary reason that the new fence is needed.
I would disagree that it is for a privacy issue and I have no problem with it, but I don't think that we should clarify because there are other fences that may be 8 feet because we don't know that for a fact. So in terms of future, I think just looking at this case, it's not a fence in the front yard. It's an unusual case because it's on the corner. So I agree for privacy because of the state park connection to the trail that I understand the need for it. And it's set back far enough from the corner so it's not a problem for vehicular view. I mean, I have no problem with it, but I think that it is for privacy because of the public way.
Any other discussion?
Well, we'll have to have a further discussion depending on how you want to put this in, in our voting or how we've done this,
Well,
in the past.
I think we should go
Yeah,
through
because-
seeker.
Everybody on Brookside could come in and say, hey, I would like to put a 6-foot fence along the front of my yard on Brookside. And you're going to have a wall, a stockade fence up and down Brookside, which is
Well,
not,
he's not
not
asking for a
conducive.
fence on Brookside. I mean,
Right.
it's actually on Shady Lane, so. and
One
it's
case
not-
at a time, one case at a time.
Yeah. All right, so we want to go through, Fred, you want to run through the seeker?
Sure. Well, the 5 criteria for
Yep.
the area variance, certainly. Okay. And then someone can make a resolution after and we could vote. The first question is, will there be an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties?
No.
No,
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 2, can the applicant achieve the benefit by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance?
no,
no,
No.
no,
No.
3, is the area variance request substantial?
Hmm. Oh.
yes,
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Is
I
that
said
unanimous? Is
no.
that unanimous? Everyone says yes?
No, I said no.
Why do we say it's substantial?
Because you're taking a 4-foot fence and making a 6-foot fence, so that's well, if I do my math right, that's about a third higher, 33% higher than the code allows.
50% higher.
I was thinking 50. I was good with numbers. They'd make me a financial
Close
person.
enough.
Okay, just wanted to justify why your
Yep.
comments. Okay, thank you.
4, will the variance have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district?
No,
No,
Oh,
No,
No,
And 5, was the alleged difficulty self-created?
no.
I think it's one of the few times I can actually say, no, it wasn't self-created.
I think it is self-created, but whatever.
Go ahead. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could argue either way, but
Self-created because he's asking for 2 feet more. I mean, so he still could have a fence at 4 feet.
Oh, I thought you meant like remediating the change in that corner due to the upgrades in the trail. Because that sort of is prompting, my wanting, an upgrade in the fence.
all right. So we have what, 2
Yeah.
yeses and 2 nos?
Tim, what's your vote?
yes.
Okay.
Dan?
yes.
So,
Yes.
Mark feels
And I'm
self-created,
gonna change my vote to yes.
even though he's on a corner lot and had no control over that part.
Right.
Okay,
Right, because he
Alright,
could
so
leave
Mark,
it,
is
he
your
could leave
answer-
it the way it is.
You can leave it the way it is. It's not going to make a
Yeah.
difference.
Right,
I think I think you're going to argue it either way. That's always the question. You can
Mm-hmm.
argue either way, depending on how you look at it.
This
Mark, you
is
wanna keep
closer
your
than
answer?
most, right, Mark?
Yeah.
Mark will keep his answer as no, it was not self-created, and everyone else says yes, that it was, that it is. Is that correct summation?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. All right, so all things considered,
Who wants to make a motion?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the applicant's application as presented.
I'll
That was
second.
Dan.
I
Julia
second.
seconded it. All those in favor, let's do a roll call vote. That way we can capture it. Tim,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes,
Jack,
Yes.
Julia,
Yes.
me, yes. So I was unanimous, yes. So, Patrick, that means that you can now, do the rest of the steps, which is get a permit if you need one, and you can move forward.
Okay, great.
All right?
Yes.
Anything else before we turn you off?
No, have a good night. All
All right, you have a good night.
right, thanks, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
interesting.
All
choice.
right. So that brings us to Tyler Brown, who is on the line. So we will open up his line with a motion to open the public hearing for 218 Huntley Ave.
So moved.
I move to open the public hearing.
Dan made a motion to open
second.
public hearing, seconded by Jack. And Tyler, you're muted at the moment, but as soon as you unmute, you can present your case.
Okay, well, I guess I'm unmuted. So my request is for a variance on my setbacks to build I guess what you guys are considering an outbuilding because of the size of it. I have an odd shaped property, so I need a 23-foot variance from the rear and a 5-foot variance from the side. My neighbors did receive the postcard and came over to, ask me about it, and they said that they think it's a great idea. Considering the shape of my yard, the way it is, I have neighbors on one side who I'm shielded from with kind of a natural hill. I don't know why it's there, but it is. I just moved in here in August. And on the left, I have a fence. And then the base of my yard is Tracy Lumber. So I don't have an alley or anybody else that I'd be, blocking a view of or obstructing anything with the building. So, questions, concerns from the board as far as why I want to build it. I mean, anything like that. I mean, I've never requested variance before, so this is my first one.
Okay. My only question would be, as far as the rest of the structure, it all conforms with all the normal building codes and doesn't need any variances to be built other than the setbacks?
Correct. I mean,
Okay.
it's standard building code 211. I mean, as far as, stud spacing, I've built 2 of these before with my father before. Very aesthetically like pleasing buildings. It'll look like a, kind of a little chateau cottage thing in the backyard is, kind of the idea. So, but it'll be just larger enough to use for, storage, do some woodworking down there. I'm a big cyclist, so I need room for bikes. I need, all of and I just have a small 1-car garage and nowhere really else to expand. So, I think it would, and also in the winter when the leaves are off the trees, my backyard is Tracy Lumber's lot. So it would also give a nice backdrop to the yard and kind of increase the, the property value. If I were to build it based on the current setbacks, because of the way my yard is shaped, I would be essentially putting it in the middle of the yard, which would just waste space of the yard. Where now I could utilize what is currently just brush and debris from the, kind of natural hill that or not an unnatural hill that they've put down between our kind of property lines. So it would make use of a space that's otherwise useless in the yard.
Okay. Any comments from the audience? We still have one additional person in the audience. If you'd like to speak, just raise your hand and we'll recognize you. Any questions from the board members for Tyler?
What sort of siding and things like that will be placed on it?
I was planning on using a T111, which is kind of it looks like a natural siding, and then paint it a blue that will complement the blue of my house with a white windows. Undecided on the color of the roof, but it'll be a a metal roof that will be complementary.
Thank you.
What will be the height?
Excuse me?
What will be the height of the structure?
The overall peak will be at 14 feet, but it'll slope down. So off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what the pitch of the roof was, but it's a standard construction pitch. But that's just 14 feet to the peak, just because that will make it look more like a kind of like a miniature house versus I don't like the hip roof or the barn roof style shed, so I didn't decide to go that route in my design.
Will the shed have utilities?
Just electric.
Not a shed, it's an accessory building. I'm not sure what the requirements are. Mike, if you're still on the line, if you could speak to that.
Yeah, shed is 144 square feet.
Right. Yeah. So that's why my
Oh,
permit
so-
application was for an accessory building.
Right.
Mike, are there any other limitations for an accessory building?
The height is, I believe it can't be no more than what the house is.
Yeah. My house is not 14 feet. Has anybody been by? No one's called me or stopped by. They said you may stop and look at the property. And has anybody?
I
been by?
would, I would buy the property.
Yeah, and you can't really see the piece that's building from the road even without, because of the way the trees and that little playset thing, which is going to be
Right.
gone, sit. So
Well,
Yeah, it's
except
really-
way back in the corner.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I think we've all been there. I walk by there 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay,
So, you're not-
you're
what
probably
you're
seeing me out
saying-
there then.
What you're saying is correct. I agree.
One other thing, guys, is the garage door, I don't believe can be over 8 feet.
No, it wouldn't be an over 8-foot door, because it wouldn't be. The only reason I do an overhead door, be a small custom overhead door versus swinging doors, because those ones tend to get heavy and warp. So I do an overhead door just because of longevity and it'd work better. But it wouldn't be a car garage door. It would be like a utility overhead door.
Yeah, because you're showing on the drawing 8 foot, basically the top of the sill plate, so the door would have to be lower.
Yeah, the door wouldn't be much higher than what the regular man door would be. If I did, it was just. I think maybe I was going by what a standard door was.
Standard door, 6'8" or 7 feet.
No, a standard like single car
Oh, yeah.
garage door.
A garage door is 8 feet.
Okay, so it has to be under 8 feet. Yeah.
Whatever Mike's saying.
Okay.
So I guess the reality is that all that stuff will be taken care of with the building permit because it won't get issued if he has anything in there that requires a variance.
Is this gonna be insulated? Mike?
No,
Okay,
does that make it? I wasn't planning on insulating because I don't really plan on heating it. So,
okay.
I mean, heating it, no. So I'm not going to insulate. Does that make a difference if I were to insulate it down the road?
No, I don't
Okay.
know. It's Mike's territory to look up
Okay.
in the code.
Just curious, because like, down the road, maybe, it's not exactly always warm here in Syracuse. So if I wanted to,
Really?
There's
If
2
anybody's
days,
noticed.
there's 2 days in July where it's warm.
yeah. And we
Where
already
did-
burnt those up in June somehow.
Where did you come from that you didn't know that?
No, I've lived here for 4 years. I'm from central Pennsylvania, so the cold's no surprise to me.
All right.
Any other comments or questions before we close the public meeting?
Didn't receive any comments or anything at the
I
office.
don't see any hands raised, so I would say we can have a motion to close the public hearing.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
All right, who was motioned?
I made the motion.
Or is
Dan,
it Dan and
Yeah.
Tim seconded it.
thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That was unanimous. Any discussion? I think it's fine. I mean, it's definitely way back in the corner. You can't really see it. I don't even think you can see it from Tracy's. I looked from Tracy's. I don't think you can even see it from there. And you certainly can't see it from Salt Springs Road because of the fence and the trees. So I don't really see much of an issue with it. And I think, like you said, I don't think there's any other place you could put it. If you moved it out with the setbacks, be in the middle of the yard and, that would become a wasteland back there.
Especially with the shape of this lot that he's got too, such a
Right.
unusual shape. But
Yeah, it's a very unusual shape.
I think it's an ideal place for a shed,
Yep.
That's where I would put it.
or excuse me, accessory building, not a shed, accessory building.
So with that, does anybody want to go through the 5 criteria again?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. 1, will there be an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties?
No,
No.
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 2, can the applicant achieve the benefit by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance?
No.
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 Well, I think he could put it in the middle of his yard, but I don't think that's practical.
Right.
So I would say no.
3, is the area variance request substantial?
I would say yes.
Maybe mathematically, yes.
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 Yeah.
4, will the variance have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district?
No.
No,
No.
5, was the alleged difficulty self-created?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Who didn't vote?
Who wants to make a motion?
I'll make a
Oh.
motion.
Who wants to make a motion? Sorry about that.
I'll make a motion to accept the applicant's application as presented.
Second.
Seconded Jack Clump. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do
Aye.
Unanimous.
No need to do roll call. Everyone said, okay.
Yep, everybody spoke. All right, do we want to read the resolution, or Tyler, you can go ahead and reach out to Mike and get your building permit and move forward.
All right. I don't know if I'm muted or not, but all right. Thank you very much. Appreciate
All right.
your support.
All right, with that, Tyler, we're gonna turn you off and have a good night.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep. All right, so with that said, for Timothy Murphy's application for 770 Warren Street, It was tabled at the last meeting. He withdrew it due to the fact that the basement ceiling height was a half a foot below code. And there's no practical solution for him to raise the ceiling and occupy those two spaces. So now it's up to him and Mike and whoever to do whatever they need to do to correct that situation. So that's off the table now and withdrawn. Any questions, comments? With that, new business, we have minutes from last meeting. Any corrections to last month's meeting notes?
No,
No.
We hear a
No,
motion to accept the minutes as written.
so move.
Dan, seconded.
Second,
Tim and Jack, second. Motion to approve the minutes. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, that's unanimous.
Mark, you had
Um,
a question about Warren Street, if we needed to formally close the public hearing. Fred, does that matter if the applicant withdrew the application? Does that just kind of close everything?
I think by the applicant withdrawing the application, it's not necessary.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to be sure of that.
Yeah, and we've got it in the record that,
That's
we've got
stated
it in the
public
record that we adjusted it. What's that?
Can that be put into the record? That it's
Yeah.
Closed because of his withdrawing his
Yes,
application.
sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we just leave that in the record. We should be good to go. And then in our next meeting, we have scheduled for July 20th. If there's anything before us, I suspect that we might be seeing the project on Genesee Street by July.
Potentially, yep. And I know I have one other area variance application that should be forthcoming. So there'll be at least one, if not two things to hear. So the
Okay.
question I have is that if it's going to be by Zoom or if it'll be in person. So
Well, we'll have to wait and see how all of the COVID experiments from the last few weeks and the one coming up this weekend turns out.
that's kind of the question. So right now, open meetings law is suspended through July 6th. And they usually keep pushing it out as it approaches that date. They do it on a month-to-month basis. So I won't know till literally the end of the month that they're going to push it out again. But you can meet up to groups of 25 people, so there's a chance it may not get pushed out again.
Hmm.
Now that
Okay.
we're in phase 3.
Just let us know.
So we'll keep you posted either way. Planning board is meeting on July 6th via Zoom, so you can listen in as they continue reviewing the 547 Genesee Street. Any other questions?
No, I think we
No.
can entertain a motion to,
Motion to
Uh,
adjourn.
yeah, thank you. That was Dan.
Second.
Second, Jack. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All right, we are adjourned. Let me turn off the recording. And we'll.
good night, everybody.